Temba and Zoto were at the therapist, and Zoto said to the therapist, "My husband and I were happy for the first 20 years." And the therapist asked, "And then what happened?" "And then we met," said Zoto. Good evening, and welcome to Talk with Rams. I hope you stay happy with me before and after we've met, unlike Temba and Zoto, my favorite couple. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Talk with Rams. I always ask you to please subscribe to our what is that thing? YouTube channel, and then follow us on Instagram and Facebook. The last time I had this gentleman on the show, he had a Santa mood, dishing out some money to help small businesses or youth-owned businesses to survive. He comes back in a different mood. He now wants to identify young people who are trailblazers doing amazing stuff because it's Youth Month. It is Youth Month, and the National Youth Development Agency is trying to find those young people who are doing amazing stuff that needs recognition. They're running a campaign called Trailblazers 2020. Waseem Carrim, the CEO, is joining me tonight to dish out more great news. He's always a bearer of good news. Good evening, mate, and thank you for coming back.
Hey, Rams, it's great to be back. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know, a few years ago, I wrote, I can't remember where, I think it was on the Mail and Guardian, and I said, we need a new narrative for the Youth Month. We can't always make it political. And yes, we need to recognize what happened in 1976. We can never forget it. But young people born in 2000 want a new narrative. And I'm so excited about this program that you guys came up about. Let's talk about that first. But first, I want us, maybe we start talk about the fact that Youth Month is a very important part for you, isn't it? I mean, for NYDA, this is your time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Youth Month is always important. I think, June 1976 evokes emotions in everybody, yeah, especially your generation, Rams.
Yeah.
But
it thank you very much, mate. I'm like so flattered. Thank you.
No, it invokes a certain emotion in everybody because I think it meant so much in the struggle against apartheid. It was such a turning point. But the fact that young people were organized and collective in fighting an injustice, and I think it's globally recognized as such an important day. So I think every year it brings up a new level of sentiment and a new level of emotions. But I think this year, especially with the world and, the continent, our country facing almost an invisible enemy, I think this is the year, probably one of the most important June 16th in our history. Because if at any time we needed to draw on the spirit of the generation of 1976, it would be now. It's now that we need to come together as a country. We need to come together as a people. And we need to know that the sacrifices we make now will result in a better future for South Africa.
Yeah. What I'm fascinated about with this Trailblazer program, and I wanted to introduce it now, for me, it's celebratory, and I like that. Yes, again, June 16, 1976 was gloomy. It created by the way, I also believe that it was a great stepping stone to where we are today. But to go to a point of the mood where we are always commemorating and feeling the bad happened, to celebrate her is so important to me. We gotta celebrate successes that young people are achieving today. So let's talk about the Trailblazer campaign.
Yes, I mean, we started this campaign in around 2018, and I mean, it's exactly what you say, is to say, we'll always recognize the heroes of 1976, yeah? But who are the heroes today in South Africa, the heroes and heroines out there? And they exist, right? They're in their communities. They're out there assisting the vulnerable and protecting food security and making a difference, And I think beyond just recognizing them, it's about this thing of, we always seem to talk about young people like, we need to assist them. We need to assist them. Like they don't have agency, you know. But our young
Yeah.
people do have agency. Yeah. They're making a difference out there. You know, they're writing their own stories. They're writing their own narratives. And I think it's important for organizations like the NYDA, for government at large, to recognize those young people, one, but to tell their stories, you know, to the South African community, tell it to the world, you know, both as a message of hope, and to inspire a new generation of young people to rise up, and be focused in how they come up with solutions.
So who are we looking for? What are these trailblazers this time that we're looking for? What should they be doing different that we should recognize and go pick them? I mean, I've got a few young people I can think about, including my own technical producer in the background.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for one, it's, you know, a few years ago, there was this concept of social entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I think, you know, a social entrepreneur is somebody who identifies a need in their community or a need in society, and they're able to fulfill it. So they're both able to use that entrepreneurial spirit to improve their own life, but also improve many other people's lives, you know. I've read stories during COVID of young people putting together bicycle delivery groups, you know, Ubers of townships, if you will. Yeah. I've read about young people who are coming together in their communities to tackle gender-based violence. Yeah. Who are focused on the greening of townships. I mean, a few years ago, there were young people who took waste and converted it into school bags, you know. So those are the stories that are amazing in nature. Yeah, they're inspirational in nature. And it can be in any field. It can be in science and technology. It can be in entrepreneurship. It can be in academia. So it's a broad range of categories. Yeah. And we want those messages to be amplified of those young people, because it doesn't have to be sector specific. It doesn't have to be community specific. We just want to know who's rising up, ordinary young people doing extraordinary things.
And should it be COVID-19 related?
It would help if it was COVID-19 related, given that that's mostly what we talk about these days. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it can be even a solution that was come up before COVID-19. You know, I think, let's be honest, South Africa doesn't only face problems of COVID-19. Our problems of unemployment and poverty and inequality and many of our social ills, gender-based violence, HIV and AIDS,